Hello and welcome to Bristol Sport TV. In the next 10 minutes or so, we'll bring you up to speed on all of your favourite Bristol sports. But first, on Friday morning, we hosted our monthly Big Sports Speaker event. Our guest was the former world champion boxer Barry McGuigan. He entertained us with stories of his sporting career, but also spoke of the positive impact that boxing had had not just on his life, but being used as a unifying force for good in Ireland at a difficult time.
In Northern Ireland, boxing saved lives, and because there were so many kids that were being attracted to the paramilitaries, because you know what you're like, you want danger, you want something that everybody talks about with sort of hushed breath. For them it was a way to actually channel their energy in a positive way and get their lives back in order and give them structure to their lives. So boxing saves lives, and I'm telling you, it literally saved hundreds, if not thousands of lives in Northern Ireland.
Well, you touch on it there, the particularly difficult time that you came to the sport at the height of the troubles, sort of in the mid-70s, late 70s. And I know you were telling me previously a story of the gym that you used to train in Belfast.
Yeah.
You had to go through a military checkpoint. Yeah. But it was almost like that was a safe house for Protestants, for Catholics. Yeah. Everything was left behind when you got in.
Well, the Holy Family Club, and it was led by a guy called Jerry Story, and Jerry Story's brother Bobby was in the IRA. Now, this is what I really admire him for. And yet, he had a club, and we never no swearing. If you talked about politics, get out. Don't come back. And it was amazing because it was in a Catholic area, and yet Protestants could walk into that club and nobody would touch them. Nobody would dare touch them. And I remember fighting East Germany in the Shankill Road in 1978. And it was one of the worst times. It was, I mean, people were killed every day. Multiple people were killed every single day. And yet there was a cordoned 1,000 feet square, or 1,000 yard, that nobody could come in. And I was a little Catholic guy from the border, from the south, in the Shankill Road, and they loved me. Carl Frampton's uncle, his uncle was on the door, and he took the guns of everybody as they came through the door. But it was on a very treacherous time. Loads of murders along the border, loads of people killed, and I realize it now, but at the time I just said I want to be a professional fighter. And then I decided to marry a Protestant as well. So I broke all the rules. And back in those days, you can have a Protestant friend if you're a Catholic, but don't you dare bring him into the Catholic side. Because your life was threatened. You done that. And vice versa. So I was so sick of this, and everybody was intimidated. And I said, my father's going to sing, we're not going to have the Queen as a national anthem, we're not going to have the Soldier's Song, because that will alienate half the audience. And I wasn't thinking commercially. I was thinking, I'm not going to be bullied, I'm not going to be intimidated. And it had unbelievable success. And we had a Falls Road Barry McGuigan Supporters Club, a Shankill Road Barry McGuigan's Club, Supporters Club, and they went off together. These guys that would very rarely associate with each other went off to my fights together, travelled overseas together. The deep, hardened Republicans would have hated me. The loyalists would have hated me, but they would all have watched the fight. Yeah. They would all have, watched the fight, but never admitted that they supported me. But the majority of people supported me, and it was phenomenal. And I could do things that nobody else could do because of sport.
Barry McGuigan there, speaking of using sport as a force for good. Well, certainly the Bristol Flyers have been using it as a force for good as they kept their playoff hopes alive after an 8-point victory over Leeds at the weekend. It sees them this weekend going into a double header against Cheshire Phoenix. They take them on at home at the SGS Wise Arena on Friday evening, followed by a trip away to them on Sunday. If they get 2 wins, it will see them leapfrog the Surrey Scorchers and back into the playoff positions. Here's Coach K.
One game at a time. We cannot be thinking what Surrey are doing, what Plymouth are doing, what anyone else. This is about us right now and the next game. So we've got to prepare for the next game, just be ready. Preparation has to be, the focus for us right now, and just play our basketball. And let's see how this thing goes, basically. There's plenty of time. There's 5 games ahead of us. And I think right now the focus is on the next game. We don't want to think about ahead of the playoffs. We believe we're a playoff team. There's no question about that. We think we can compete with anyone on the day. But we've got to go and prove it, and we've got to do it game by game, possession by possession.
Well, tickets for Friday's game against Cheshire Phoenix have sold out, but if you have been lucky enough to secure your seat, watch out for our Sugar Smart campaign, as the Flyers will be promoting it at the game. Just a reminder that there are limited tickets still available for the last home game of the regular season. That's against the Manchester Giants on Saturday, April the 22nd. Just head to the website to buy online. Well, Bristol Rugby returned to Premiership action on Saturday with a trip to Sandy Park as they take on the Exeter Chiefs. And points are crucial to Mark Tainton's men if they're to avoid the drop at the end of the season.
Yeah, I think first and foremost it is about a performance. If you perform well and you keep the ball, then opportunities will arise. And the players are well aware of that. We've had a couple of meetings just to make sure everyone's heads are in the right place and our mindset's right to go to Exeter and the challenge that we expect down there. Look, we want to put in a performance, not just try and get points down there, but also for the Bristol public, who have been fantastic throughout the year.
And young players have really come to the fore in recent weeks. That must be really encouraging for the future.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we've got some outstanding young talent playing at the moment and coming into the squad for next season. You've got players who are ambitious and they want to improve, and hopefully they want to go and play international rugby, which not only benefits them but it benefits the club as well.
And for any future rugby professionals out there, just to let you know, we have got some spaces still available on our Land Rover Cup tournament, which is taking place on Easter Sunday. That's April the 16th, being held at Bristol Grammar School. If you've got an under 11 or under 12s club side that you want to enter, just head to the Bristol Rugby website to find out more. Now, Bristol Rugby ladies, they won their first piece of silverware of the season after a 32-20-point victory over local rivals Worcester. But there isn't much time to celebrate though, as attention's now turned to the playoff semi-final this Sunday. Bristol will take on Saracens at Cleve Rugby Club for a place in the Women's Premiership final. Kick-off for that is at 2:45, and there'll be lots of family activities at the game. Just head to the Bristol Sport website for tickets. Well, sadly, City Women's Cup run has come to an end after they were narrowly defeated by league champions Manchester City in the FA Cup. The two sides tied at half-time break after Claire Emsley scored for the Vixens, but a late goal from the visitors ended the game 2-1. Well, it does mean that City women can now turn their full attention to the start of the Spring Series campaign, and it kicks off here at Ashton Gate when they take on Reading after the City men's game on April the 22nd. Kick-off is at 6 o'clock. Just head to the website to buy your tickets, but if you are a City season card holder, you can gain entrance for free. Well, speaking of the men, Bristol City will be looking to bounce back after a difficult few days after defeats away at Brentford and Preston North End. However, results elsewhere mean that Lee Johnson's side remain outside of the bottom three ahead of Saturday's Sky Bet Championship encounter with Wolves at Ashton Gate.
You take each game as it comes, but certainly when you're playing well, and our home form's obviously been a lot better than our away, and with 6 games left, like I say, it's going to be important to utilise every single factor, and we're still out of the relegation zone. It's in our hands, and we've got to make sure that we turn up and deliver.
And just finally, congratulations to Gordano School, who won the EFL Kinder and Sport Girls Cup on Sunday at Wembley, no less. Representing City, Gordano School were competing for their very first time, and they overcame Thomas Telford School of Shrewsbury by 2-0 prior to the Checkatrade Trophy final, courtesy of goals from Emily Edwards and Kira Howes. Congratulations to them. You've certainly made City proud. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this week's edition of Bristol Sport TV, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.